Well, good morning, everybody. This is PrepperCon Radio, of course, with Scott and the prepared guy over here. How you doing?
Good morning. I am doing well. Good morning, Salt Lake City.
All right, so we had a really interesting last hour, listening to fun conspiracies and whatever and what have you. We're going to shake things up a little bit. We're going to talk water today.
We're going to talk water, yeah, very serious topic.
Water is one of the, I would say, one of the top 2 or top 3 often overlooked items that you need in your personal self-protection, self-sustaining, emergency packs, everything and anything around the world of prepping. Water is one of the key factors in there.
Of course, the first thing we always talk about is food storage.
Absolutely.
But what goes right along with that, when you think food, you should also think water storage.
Well, let's take it back a little bit. First and foremost, the emergency rule of 3 is kind of the Bible for preparedness, right? The first rule of 3 is your brain can only handle about 3 minutes without air.
Right.
Your body can only handle about 3 hours without shelter. And I'm talking inclement weather,
right.
Rainstorms. More people die of exposure in the mountains than anything else.
Hypothermia.
Exactly. The third one, 3 days without water. And everybody seems to talk about food first. Food's great. Food keeps you from getting cranky. Water keeps you from dying. You can go 3 weeks without food. I don't recommend it. I've never tried it. I don't ever want to try it, but that's the data we have.
Fasting on Sunday is hard enough, right?
Yeah. Fasting on Sunday, for those of you who do it, amazing. For those of you who don't, give it a try. Even if you're just trying it for your survival purposes, it's challenging. But when it comes to water, I think that's one of the most overlooked things. As a realtor, I go through homes all the time. I'm showing homes to people, and I see food storage out the wazoo. Rarely, if ever, do I see somebody that has water storage.
Yeah, absolutely right. And like when we spoke with Dan with Life Survival, we talked about, one of the first priorities is get yourself some shelter. Second priority is find your water source. And, food can wait. Obviously, you can last 3 weeks. Yeah, you'll be hungry. But if you have your water source, you can concentrate on everything else after that.
Absolutely, and it's also a huge mental strength, psychologically as well. Once you have water, that gives you a sense of peace. It gives you a sense of, I don't have to freak out anymore. Because that worry is eliminated as soon as you have that. The other problem is what's in your water, so you got to make sure you're filtering it. That kind of leads us into our guest for the hour. We've got some really cool people coming in. They're day one response. Let's see if we can turn the phones on here while we introduce them. Jason, Tricia, are you guys there?
We are.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
This thing's working. That's good. So,
how are you guys doing this morning?
We're doing
good. How are you?
Thanks for hanging on hold for us for so long.
Absolutely.
No worries. Thanks for having us.
Oh, our pleasure. So, Day One, just for those that are listening that have never heard of Day One, Day One was a sponsor. We met them at PrepperCon last year. They're one of our sponsors. They're awesome. I ended up buying, I want to say 6 of their water bags. And I'll let them explain it because they can explain it a lot better than I can. But for me, the reason I bought them was because it was so simple. When it comes to taking care of your water, the biggest challenges that I find in a survival situation are, portability and filtration, and they've solved both of those. And so, without me going too far into it, Jason, do you want to give us some background on that product? Well, actually, before we jump into the product, tell us about your company, because I think you guys have a really cool mission, and then it kind of tied into preparedness. And so, I'm excited to have you guys on the air. I'm excited to have you here. I think Day One's really cool. So tell us about Day One first and foremost.
Absolutely, and we're just as excited to participate this morning. Thanks again for all your help and support with PrepperCon. Excited to have been a part of it earlier this year and again next year. Really excited to continue the conversation with you and be on air this morning. So Day One Response was started a few years ago by my colleague Tricia, who's sitting next to me right now. She saw a need for innovation in the clean water space in terms of emergency response abroad. So most of what we had done until relatively recently was looking in the international scene in response to natural disasters and emergency response. And so there are a lot of different products abroad that are used in that space, in that context, for water purification. But not all of it is simple to use, is portable, and really just thinks of, or puts the user in mind in terms of that innovation, that design. And so that's where this kind of came into consideration. And so there's a product called the P&G Purifier of Water packet, and that was designed by Procter & Gamble a little over 10 years ago for their Children's Safe Drinking Water initiative. And the idea behind that is to bring clean water around the world to children in need in all types of different settings in developing countries. And if you look at that packet, that is a really great and innovative product that purifies water, pulls out the turbidity, pulls out the dirt, gets rid of kills the bacteria and the viruses. But there's still a better way to do it. There's a way to maximize that efficiency, that effectiveness of that P&G packet. And so that's where the water bag comes in hand.
So this P&G packet, if I could interrupt for a second, this P&G packet, basically it's a chlorine, correct? It kills bacteria as well as, I guess, what you call a flocculant that settles out the impurities. Basically, you can use get cloudy water and make it clear.
Right. So this can work on any type of non-salt water, regardless of the level of turbidity. The chlorine kills the bacteria and the viruses, and the flocculant will help strip out the sediment, the dirt, things like giardia and other cysts that are really dangerous but have an outer shell that's resistant to chlorine. And it'll bind all of those things together, making them so dense that it pushes it to the bottom of the water, really pulls it out, and turns your water from dirty, cloudy, turbid to crystal clear.
Similar to like a commercial water system.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. It's like a water treatment plant. The same chemicals used in our large municipalities are just held within this packet.
Excellent.
And then we took it a step further.
Right. So by design, the water bag is meant to just increase the efficiency, the effectiveness, and really the all-around ease of use for the consumer, for the user. And in a lot of contexts around the world, there's often a water source, but that water source might be miles away from where that water is being used or consumed. Mm-hmm. And so in a lot of cases, the water is carried via different jugs, jerry cans, barrels, things like that are really inconvenient and difficult to move and just really cumbersome for the user. So the water bag, by design, has backpack straps that you can throw it on your bag. It holds 10 liters of water at a time, which is enough for a family for a day. Of course, it comes with enough packets to do that quite a few times over again. But by design, it holds and treats 10 liters at a time. And so the overall system is meant to be an all-in-one solution for the collection of water, the treatment of water, the transportation of water, the storage of water, and then, of course, the distribution and consumption of water. And additionally, we also attached on a secondary filtration system to make it just as robust as possible, being that we're working in some of the hardest to deal with areas around the globe where the water really is just of questionable quality. And so by combining that dual-pronged process, both the chemical treatment and the secondary filter, we can be confident that we can treat any type of non-salt water up to US EPA drinking water standards and World Health Organization drinking water standards.
Awesome. So here's what I like about your product. Now, you guys have explained all the technical mumbo jumbo. I'm going to call it mumbo jumbo because I'm not a technical guy. Shane over here, he'll go all day and he loves the numbers, he loves the tech stuff.
Absolutely.
For me, water systems, the biggest challenge I find, because I camp a lot, I spend a lot of times outdoors, and oftentimes, especially living in Utah, it's high desert. So you don't have water real close. So you get water when you can. If you're hiking, there's a stream, load up. I love this product so much because, number one, it's got the two different processes for cleaning and purifying your water. But number three kind of turns into my number one, which is the portability. It's a backpack. It's got two straps. They're really, it's a rugged bag. It's not going to just fall apart. It's robust. And so when we go camping, like, for example, my mother-in-law's got some land we like to go to. We take that with us. There's a river not too far away, but I don't have to haul in, 15, 20 gallons of water. I can just go get it.
And this is the method that I've always used when I'm backpacking or hiking is I take my water filter down to the stream and I bring a bladder along. I would fill up that bladder, take that bladder over to the campsite, and that's a gallon or two, and then dispense it from there.
Well, and the other challenge is most water filters are not passive, meaning you've got to work on it. So I've got all these other hand filters that I've got to pump and pump and pump and pump and pump and pump and everyone else might be like, well, I've just got a water bottle with a passive filter in it and I just fill that and walk off. I hate those because you've got to have a lot of suction to make them work. Right. And the standard water purification systems filters you've got with a hand pump, you could be there for a while, depending on, is it
how much water
single action or double action as far as, as the process goes. But this, it's like,
It's a gravity filter.
it's gravity, and it's boom, boom, done. I open the bag up, scoop the water in, close the bag, walk off.
Mhm.
Who was that, Tricia? Was that your idea to design it that way?
Yeah, I think you hit on a couple of points. Yeah, we tried to, I've done a lot of backpacking as well, and just try to say, how can we simplify this? So, we worked internationally, but we, I think, faced some of the same challenges here in the U.S. And being in remote areas. So, but yeah, try to make it as easy as possible and give the largest amount of quantity of water, for one go. And we I've taken it to Yosemite on a backpacking trip, and we saw the exact thing you just described. Went to the creek once, filled it up, brought it back to the campsite, and then had enough water for, to fill our water bottles, to cook dinner, to wash, the pots and pans. Then in the morning, make breakfast, fill up our water bottles again, and then you could stuff the day one water bag in your backpack and you're off.
That's
So
awesome.
we only had to go to the creek once, and so that's what we try to look at is, can we make our lives and the lives of people, whether you're in Haiti or Nepal or in Utah or where we are in California, just a little bit simpler because water is so important.
And I think a way to summarize it really well, and again, just expand on the fact that these are the same issues regardless of context. We participated in a conference in Washington, D.C. a couple of months ago, and there was a representative from the military talking about water purification, water treatment. And he was saying that in just about every context around the globe, there is a water source of some kind, whether that is a contaminated tap, pool water, or in some of the more remote areas and where the military works, there's some sort of stream or lake or whatever it is. And so they're looking for a solution that is not a lot of water bottles, because that's really heavy. It's not a very high-tech, expensive solution that requires a lot of money or a lot of technological knowledge or know-how. And so there are a lot of different contexts where people are looking for a low-tech or no-tech, lightweight, relatively inexpensive solution. And this really takes all of that into consideration. Whether you're working in a natural disaster, such as an earthquake in Nepal earlier this year, household level preparedness here in the U.S., or in terms of actual military deployment. They're all similar issues, they're all similar goals, and there really is often similar types of water sources, and that can be looked at and fixed through the similar solution. And we've looked at the water bag to be one that kind of spans that spectrum and works in all contexts.
And I think those who are listening, if you're in front of your computer, you could go to dayoneresponse.com and take a look at the product so you can really better visualize what we're talking about.
So before we bump into our commercial break, tell us a little bit about the special that you guys have going on right now. I saw in your email to me that there's going to be a promotion.
Sure. So there are two that we can touch on quickly. For the holidays, we are promoting a water bag giveaway. So we have a social media contest that anybody that uses the hashtag water bag giveaway, spelled exactly as it sounds, water bag giveaway, one word, make sure to tag us, Day One Response, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and one participant will be chosen randomly for a free water bag. And then we have two more people that will receive a 12-pack of the P&G Purifier of Water that can be used either inclusive of the water bag or independently of that. So that's an exciting promotion we have going on, a contest. And then specifically for people listening today, we have a coupon, a discount code that we'd love for anybody to take advantage of today. That's KTALK. You're free to use that with or without the dash, KTALK. Anybody that uses that today will receive $5 off of a water bag, off of as many water bags as you'd like to purchase. And we do both provide and send water bags for individual preparedness that you can own and keep, or, which we can talk about a little bit more later, we also offer the ability to sponsor a water bag for humanitarian efforts with our implementing partners abroad. So if anybody goes on and sponsors a water bag, that water bag will go out in our next humanitarian deployment with a humanitarian organization partner.
Fantastic. We're running into a break, so everybody hang on there. We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors. All right, everybody, welcome back. You're on PrepperCon Radio. You can hear us every Wednesday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. at K-Talk Radio. K-Talk.com is the website. You can also follow us at KTKK On our Facebook page, it's KTKK K-Talk Utah. Twitter's KTKK. And you can check us out at PrepperCon.com, PrepperCon USA on Twitter, and
PreparedGuy.com and
PreparedGuy.com.
Prepared Guy on Twitter. And also, don't forget the archives on K-Talk. You can listen to our previous broadcasts.
So if you want to join in the conversation, we're talking water filtration, and we're going to be talking water storage today. The number to dial in is 801-254-5855. We did miss one caller a little earlier, so please call back in. We'd love to take your questions. So we have some really cool guests today. It's day one response. We've got Jason and Tricia talking about their water bag. We're also going to ask about water storage. I mean, the biggest challenge people have in a disaster is safe shelter, water, and then food. So let's focus water today. What are you guys doing for water storage? We've talked about, okay, here, go get your bag, fill your bag, it filters everything. What do you guys recommend for storage along with the bag?
Jason and Tricia, my question for you guys was, you had mentioned that basically the bag was designed to carry a day's worth of water for a family. Can you kind of elaborate on that and what you recommend, what absolute minimum is for a family? I know that typically it's 1 gallon to 2 gallons. Is this meant for a family of 3?
Yeah, it's designed for, depending on consumption, but it's designed for a family of 4 to 5 individuals. And if you're looking just at drinking water, emergency standards recommend consume about 1 liter or 2 a day.
Okay.
And the water bag is 10 liters or 2.5 gallons. So you can imagine like a half of your standard Home Depot bucket. Half of that was contained in a day one water bag. So strictly for drinking water, that'll support a family of 4 to 5 for about a day. But we know that if you much more than drink water, use it for washing, for whatever use that you have. So so we store it with many more purification packets, the P&G packets, and you can use it multiple times. So we've seen in the field, people maybe use it at minimum once a day, but typically it's probably twice a day where people fill it up. So that comes to approximately a total of 5 gallons.
Okay. And of course I come to the point where we're like Scott mentioned, we're talking about water storage. We always recommend storing 1 gallon to 2 gallons per person per day in your home, whether it be in recycled or reused soda bottles or 55-gallon drums, or like I have 250-gallon water totes. Excuse me. So I guess the idea is with the day one response pack is, what is your plan to come up with a new source of water, to come up with additional water, because you can only store so much water. And the plan is, okay, what's your plan for getting more water? And the day one response pack fits perfectly into my plans. I think maybe some of you have seen, I created a little short video about the day one response pack on PrepperCon TV. You can go see it there. You can go to preparedguy.com to kind of see the bag and see how I would use it. As Tricia mentioned, making a trip or 2 per day out to your water source. Have you identified that water source? Is it a river? Is it a spring? What are your plans for getting additional water beyond your own water storage in your home?
Right, and so I think something to keep in mind, and something that we're proud to showcase, is that we know that we're not the one solution for water. We know that there are a lot of other things that you might want to consider in terms of water storage, and where we fit is being a very complementary product to a lot of other things. And so, for instance, at PrepperCon earlier this year, thanks again, Scott, for inviting us, we met with one gentleman who runs a water storage company out of Utah, and he sells large drums. I think it was in the 200 to 300 gallon space, so pretty big drums. And he came up and looked at our product and said, this is exactly what I need for that quick on-the-go portable solution. So I might have 200 gallons of water sitting by my house, but I can't throw that in the back of my truck. I can't roll that on the ground when I'm really on the run. But if I have this water bag hanging over that 200-gallon drum, I can fill it up or just take it on the go, and it can be that portable solution for when I really am on the run. But of course, we wouldn't advise against storing water in a large container, whether that's a jug, a larger drum, or the soda bottles, as you mentioned. This is really a complementary product that helps with that context when you really don't know what's going to happen really in that emergency space when you might be on the run. And so it's really lightweight. It folds down and rolls up. You can throw it in a bug-out bag. You can throw it in your basement. You can throw it in the back of your trunk, really wherever you need it. And it's there for you when you need it. Whereas, some of those larger storage containers are a little bit more cumbersome, a little bit more difficult to bring with you.
I've never actually tried to pack a 55-gallon, water barrel in the back of a car, but I would imagine your gas mileage would go down pretty quickly.
All that way.
It would be quite a challenge. Thank you guys for being on today. Water is really the most important thing for long sustainability. I mean, you can't go long without it. Our bodies are made mostly of water, and when we're dehydrated, we see the effects pretty quickly.
And when I was making this video, I got had some pretty interesting thoughts. It was a Sunday morning. It was nice and quiet. I was out by the river, and you know how when you're stressed, what relaxes you? The sound of water, right? The sound of a flowing stream or a waterfall. And I got to thinking, okay, why is that? And Scott just pointed it out. It's because we're mostly made of water. We have that connection to water. And so that's one of the things that hit me that morning. So you should go take a look at the video. But what I was going to say is also, Jason mentioned, is that you need to have multiple plans in place. And a day one bag fits perfectly in with, say, having a backpacking filter, having your 55-gallon drums or your soda bottles, or having multiple ways to purify and filter water and store water, because it's so critical and so important. You need to plan for it in many different aspects.
Absolutely. Let's talk for a second about your experiences, like, for example, with Nepal. You guys send so many bags all over the world. Do you get to actually go out to some of these locations and do deliveries and help out on the ground?
We definitely do. I mean, our core mission at Day One is not to be first responders, but really to work alongside the first responders, to work alongside AmeriCare, or World Vision, or even the LDS humanitarian charities. But we had the opportunity to travel. Myself and a couple of our colleagues went out to Nepal about a month after the earthquake. So first earthquake was in late April this year. We flew in about a month after. And it's just really good to be part of this response effort for us as a company, just to learn. We always want to learn and be part of that, see what's going on, and then obviously is just to help and see how our solution can bring people out to the next, out of the first day to the next day and following through. And we had an opportunity to do distribution of our products to the village level, and again, I think it kind of goes with how water can really provide people hope and a sense of assurance that, okay, I can get through this really, really vulnerable, unexpected time period. And that was a great place to be working alongside our partners there.
And I think it's really great that we're able to really incorporate that into our core mission, being that in the humanitarian space, a lot of times there are products that are sent and just kind of left behind, and just hope for the best that an emergency manager in Kathmandu or elsewhere will take inventory, sort through, organize, but a lot of these places are rather hectic afterwards, and the more that we can participate and be a part of that conversation, be a part of that implementation, help with training, whatever kind of support we can provide, I think really helps with that overall mission for disaster recovery and just the road to development and all around, just creating a better and safer place in the aftermath of those disasters.
Awesome. Yeah, it's interesting. In the world of preppers, everyone has probably heard at least one time, as a prepper, everyone's like, oh, well, something bad happens, I'm coming to your house. Or someone will say, oh, if something happens, I'm just going to go find a prepper and steal their stuff. Well, the response that a prepper is always going to give is, over my dead body, you're going to get shot if you come to my house, blah, 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 blah. The reality, though, I find is everywhere I've lived, if there's a disaster, the first responders get there, the preppers get there, and they all have tools that they can work together to help people with. And I think it's one of the coolest things, and that's one of the things that draws me, tight with the prepper group is we are the community response. We are the people who are helping out, and it's tools like this, and we have to educate ourselves to find the right tools for ourselves, for what we can do, and for how we can help. that's why I love what you guys are doing. Your focus is first and foremost on helping people. You know, that's why we created PrepperCon.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to help from the very core of society, which is the family. We wanted to start there. We wanted to start in the house, in the family, to help people get better prepared. Because as we create prepared families, that creates prepared communities. Now, there's no 100% fail-safe guarantee that whatever you're doing is going to prepare you for everything. But the more you get prepared, the more you pay attention to what's going on, the more you learn about the different opportunities that are available to be better prepared, you know, the safer you're going to be, but also the more help you're going to be in a community. I mean, when I was in Florida in 1998, we had a crazy tornado, still considered the deadliest tornado in the history of Florida, happened in the middle of the night. And thankfully, it just destroyed everything. Didn't take too many lives, but it destroyed everything. But water systems were still intact. You know, we still had access to everything we needed to. You could still find roads to get through to get to food sources. It wasn't devastating to the scope of, you know, an earthquake like in Nepal, where homes are leveled, communities are leveled, you know, and so you have access to those things. I love having, for example, you guys, this water bag. The reason I have it in my supplies is because it is so quick and handy. I can grab it and go. You know, I'm a big proponent of stay home in a disaster as best you can, unless it's no longer safe, and then move. That's the bug out mindset or bug out mentality. But I shelter in place first, which is what I'm going to always recommend to everyone that I talk to. Find a way to shelter in place. If you've got a good, strong community of preppers around you, you never have to leave. You know, well, you should never have to leave.
Yeah.
But if you can't stay, have a system or have a solution so that you can take it on the road. Take whatever you need to go and go. That's why I love these bags. I mean, I use them practically for camping. But in a response situation, I can take those over to my neighbor's house. I can take those over, you know, wherever it needs to be. I can drive across town or hike across town, whatever I need to do to help.
Now, my question for you, Tricia and Jason, is the filter that you've got on this water bag. It's basically an MSR, and I guess it's called a hollow fiber technology filter, which I know is also employed without the use of the PNG packet, without the flocculant, without the chlorine additive. So my take is, and my understanding is that here, you know, in the mountains where we have clear running water, that it can be used without that packet. What's your feeling on that?
So yeah, so the filter we have as the secondary part of our treatment is the MSR filter. And how we really approach it is, you know, the way we designed it and for emergency use is knowing that you don't really know what kind of water, what type of water you're going to go into come across.
Mm-hmm.
What your source water is. Like you said, it could be a pristine looking stream in the mountains. It could be a wastewater like situation, or you know, it could be where we are, close to Golden Gate Park, where it's like duck pond.
Right.
So a lot of different waters, and so the reason that we have that multi-treatment process, we've got the chlorine, flocculant, and then filtration, is to be robust and is to pull out that cloudiness, that sediment, the dirt before it hits the filter. And the reason we approach it that way is we want the filter to last as long as possible. So the water hitting the filter is not going to clog it as quickly as maybe just a filter on it.
That's true. That's what I was going to say is, yeah, it'll definitely extend the life of the filter. And I guess that's probably the most technical part about this bag is the filter itself can be backflushed, backwashed to clear it out and continue using it.
Exactly, yeah. So we want to make it as easy for the users as possible and to minimize the amount of times you need to backflush it, but then have the ability that, yes, you can clean it out and then extend the life of the filter. So you're right. I think when you're out backpacking, the streams are very pristine looking. You know, there's those hidden giardia or cryptosporidium that you can't see visually, and the filters do remove those protozoan cysts. But oftentimes, you know, you can have a lot of dust or ash, and that flocculant's going to pull that out.
Mm-hmm.
So really to be robust and I think give confidence that, hey, this water is treated, and I'm confident to drink it.
And I think another thing to remember is that most filters out there, a standard filter also won't catch viruses. And
That's
so
correct.
in using the chemicals alongside the filter, you know that the chlorine is going to kill the things that you can't see, the bacteria, the viruses, and of course in a lot of places there might not be viruses in your water, but if that's there, you don't want that getting through the filter and entering your body, of course. So by employing this dual process, we feel confident and comfortable that we can treat pretty much anything that's out there.
Absolutely. And I totally agree with you, as I've never really been concerned about viruses here in Utah in particular, especially when you're high mountains, you've got cold water, it's running as fresh, you've got maybe a spring where you want to have some filtration but not necessarily go all the way out with a full system.
But you also have to consider ponds. I mean, there's stagnant water all over Utah.
Yep.
There's stagnant water all over the U.S. I mean, when I lived in Florida, there's stagnant, disgusting water everywhere. And it all smelled of sulfur, and there's always some animal in there.
And you can treat that with this water bag.
Exactly, and that's wherever you're living, and this is, for preppers and non-preppers, wherever you're living, you need to be understanding of what's going on in your environment. You need to have a solution for how to filter, how to, pour that water, and then how to pot that water or store that water. So how to move it and how to save it. So pay attention to what's going on in your area, pay attention to what resources you have, and take care of those things so that you're prepared. We're heading into a commercial break right now, so stay tuned. We'll be right back with more water storage solutions. All right, we're jumping right back into the hour. We are talking water filtration, water storage right now. I want to thank our guests, Day One Response, Tricia and Jason. Are you guys still there?
We are.
Awesome. So I want to thank you guys for being here today. Tell us again, before we wrap up, tell us again how people can get involved with your humanitarian efforts to help bring water to areas of disaster.
Definitely. So one thing that we're really proud of is that, so being that we're partnered with the PNG packet, that purifier water packet, and again, to reiterate, that was designed to bring clean drinking water to children around the globe through Procter & Gamble's Children's Safe Drinking Water Initiative. And so for every water bag that's purchased through a retail channel, so on our website, on Amazon, etc., whether that's a water bag for personal use or the sponsored bags that we talked about, for every bag that's purchased through those manners, a year's worth of clean drinking water is given back to PNG's Children's Safe Drinking Water Initiative. And that's for their efforts all across the globe. And then in addition, as mentioned earlier, the everyday consumer, anybody can go onto our website and sponsor a water bag for humanitarian efforts. And that's in actual water bags that will go out in our next humanitarian deployment when there's an emergency, be it an earthquake, for instance, in Nepal, a refugee setting in Eastern Africa, whatever that might be, where clean drinking water is really a question mark and really in need. So there are two main ways that we work in that context. For every water bag purchase, we give back to PNG's initiative, and then of course anybody can go and sponsor a water bag to give to humanitarian efforts.
That's awesome. And then again, the promo code is KTalk or K-Talk. Or I almost said our website, k-talk.com. So KTalk or K-Talk are the promo codes for people to get, what was it, $5 off?
Yep. So today, for everybody listening, KTalk, K-T-A-L-K, with or without the dash, will get $5 off water bag purchases or water bag sponsorships. And that's $5 per water bag, not just the total order.
Awesome.
And then the water bag giveaway.
Yes. And so
Hashtag
water bag giveaway. Tag us. We have a post on our Facebook page. We'll be tweeting out a bit more. Share that, comment on it, like it, talk about water bag giveaway, tag us in it so we see it, of course. And every entrant gets an equal chance of winning a water bag or some PNG packets.
Awesome. Well, hey guys, thank you again so much for being on air today with us. We appreciate your time. I know it's not always easy to make time to do calls like this, but we really appreciate you being here with us and sharing what you're doing, your mission, and how we can help other people be better prepared. So thank you so much.
And we'll see you at PrepperCon in April.
Definitely. Look forward to it.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. All right.
So that was awesome. I love talking to groups that actually do something. They focus on helping. That's why PrepperCon's here. That's what we do. We want to help the community. We want to get involved with you. We want to find a way to better assist our brothers and sisters. That's what a community is. It's a large family of people. Whatever your background is, whatever your goals are, it's to help each other. Part of that, you heard us the last few weeks. We talked also about a fun organization called Our Rescue, or OUR. stands for Operation Underground Railroad. Modern day abolitionists, which is to destroy slavery, to get rid of it. We want to knock it off the world. We want to just completely decimate and destroy that industry because it's disgusting. It's exploiting children. Well, we had that fundraiser a few weeks ago, and I'm really excited to announce that we hit our goal. Actually, more than hit our goal. Our goal was 75,000. We broke that goal. We're at 86,000.
That's really exciting.
Thank you to everyone who got involved. That just means the world to me. That is a cause that's near and dear to my heart. My wife and I, we've been foster parents. It's really, really just so important to get involved with things that make a difference. Prepping is one of those for me.
Mm-hmm.
OUR is the other one for me. I also serve in my church. I help wherever I can, and I think that everyone that I've ever met in prepping is very much on that same path. You're helping wherever you can. So thank you for getting involved. Thank you for being involved. Listeners, thank you for tuning in today and being part of the show. We love the calls when we get them. We also, enjoy the downtime when we don't get them. But
one thing I wanted to bring up as well is that the fundraiser isn't over. It's continuing. So feel free to jump on OURrescue.com and continue to donate, buy T-shirts. Us here at PrepperCon will continue to support OUR throughout the next decade. As long as they're around, we're going to be around supporting them.
Absolutely. The fun thing about being a prepper is you get to see and do a lot of really cool things. And next week is Christmas. Christmas is a fun holiday. It's a great time to spend time with family, to focus on the things that are most important. Oftentimes we forget and we focus on the things that are most expensive, with our gift giving. Next week we're going to talk a little bit about last minute gifts for preppers, stocking stuffers. The cool stuff that won't always get you the, holy cow, thanks Mom and Dad.
Or the, what is this?
Yeah, you might get the, what is this? But we're going to talk fun stuff about that. I love getting stocking stuffers. I think for me this year, we're actually donating all of our Christmas gift money. We donated it to OUR. The rest of Christmas is just stocking stuffers for us. Mm-hmm. And I love it because I'll get like an orange or a little loaf of bread. Right. Santa's really good to me. Orange. Some chocolates, some M&Ms, and then cool little survival gadgets. And, everything from credit card knives and just the credit card tools in general. We'll talk about some of those things. We'll talk about some of the other fun stuff, but start thinking about what you guys think should be in that list too, because we're gonna open the airwaves next week. We want to hear what you have.
And we'll probably tell you about where you can get these things as well. And the thing that we are breaking the cardinal rule of prepping. If you're a prepper, you don't talk about prepping. You don't talk about your preps. I completely disagree with that. To an extent as well. If you're not talking about prepping, you're not waking up your neighbors. You're not helping out your neighbors. And as Scott mentioned earlier, is as a community is how we're going to survive, is how we're going to get along. Doing it by yourself as a lone wolf out in the wilderness, that is just not a viable option for most people. So that's why we talk about prepping. That's why we break that rule. And I even read an article this morning that says, what happens when you talk about prepping? And here's the 7 ways that you can cover up your tracks. And I just don't necessarily agree with that. There's obviously an aspect where you have to not tell everybody about everything you have, but you need to talk about prepping.
Yeah, the first rule of prepping isn't to not talk about prepping anymore. That's the way it was, and that's the way media's kind of pushed it. They've also said that preppers are crazy. The reality is that preppers are some of the smartest people I know. I love preppers. I love you guys that are listening, paying attention to what we're talking about. You guys are the difference makers. Shane and I, we're here to help encourage those conversations, to help encourage solutions, to help people be more prepared. But the reality of it all is this is fun for us. This is what we love. This is what we're passionate about. We each have our regular day jobs, but we take time out of the week, every week, to do this because this is important. This gives our lives greater meaning, greater purpose than to just sit around and
Watch the tube. Watch
the
sports.
tubes. You know, so my challenge to you guys, if you're listening, do something productive for your family this week. Get involved with your emergency preparedness. Maybe pull a little money out of the Christmas fund and get some water filtration, get some water storage, get some food storage, get some tools, so that you're better prepared, and then go learn how to use them.
And that's what I do every Christmas and have for quite a while, is that now that I'm pulling money out, but my gifts, specifically from me, of course the kids like their electronics, they like their Legos, and I love Legos as well, but I make sure to give my kids things that will prepare them, not just in an emergency. I mean, it's kind of lame to get food storage for Christmas, right? It's kind of lame to get...
Depends on the food, I guess.
Well, yes, but you know what I mean. It sits, it goes into the storage room, it sits there, you don't have any fun with it. But I've got some fun stuff for my kids for Christmas that they're going to enjoy every single day, that they can use every day. And I'm kind of the everyday preparedness guy. I'm not just the emergency preparedness guy. I'm the everyday preparedness guy. And that's where I love the EDC topic, which is going to be a big theme, a big part about our gift list for next week. And I like to give things that are used and abused and worn out and used up. It's something you use every single day. And that's what we're going to be talking about a lot next week.
Absolutely. It's fun. All these things, it's just fun. The other fun thing is getting involved in groups and getting involved in communities that are doing the same thing. If you're looking for friends that you can talk to about prepping, Facebook has a ton of them. Pinterest has so many fun resources. It's actually one of the second or third most popular topic on Pinterest is emergency preparedness.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many resources, and it actually connects to all these different great resources. One of our local ones that's really good is the American Prepper Network.
Absolutely.
They have more articles than anyone else I've ever seen. They have content writers that are amazing. There's also local groups, like up in Ogden, there's a group called the Urban Survivalists, and they teach self-defense, situational awareness, as well as practical everyday skills. There's self-defense places all over Utah. There are emergency management meetings held by every city. You're allowed to go to those. I would get involved and find out what your city's emergency plan is so that you know what to expect.
That's a great point. Every city has their own CERT program, Community Emergency Response Program, say if there is an emergency. I know, Orem, we had a drill about a month or two ago where we all reported in kind of a mock disaster and absolutely get involved and learn those techniques and spread the word.
Absolutely. And the final thing I wanted to bring up is get in shape. We had a ton of snow this week, some more than others. I live in Bountiful. We had about 24 to 30 inches.
Yeah, I got 3 inches in Orem.
It was ridiculous. It took us about 5 hours to shovel the whole drive. And it was hugely because, well, let me back up. It took so long hugely because that's a lot of snow, and we only can move so fast. But it burns a ton of calories. You need to be aware of what you're doing. You need to be in better shape so you're not burning as many calories, so that you're not hurting yourself, you're not hurting and straining your back, you're not falling and collapsing because of a heart attack.
How's your back, Scott?
I'm a little sore. I'll be honest, it sucked. But whatever you're doing, make sure you've got a fitness regime in there and that you're practicing your skills. I mean, one of the fun things a local company is doing is called the Bug Out Adventure Challenge or the Bug Out Run. You can find them on Facebook. They've got a run this Saturday up in Davis County. It's more of a hike, and they give you a scenario. Every time they do one of these events, it's every month, they give you a scenario. And PrepperCon, we go support these guys. We just want to be community involvement and help out as much as we can. But check it out. We'll be there this Saturday. It's somewhere in Davis County. It's going to be a search and rescue type of scenario and or a stranded on the road scenario. So
cool.
Thank you for now. Thanks for listening in. We're out of time. Have a fantastic week. Get ready for Christmas and keep on prepping.
See you next week.